On this episode, I attempt to interview four guys or an entire band at once. My guests are Brett, Drew, Jay, and Richie. Collectively, they combine their powers to become Nolo. The origin story of these individuals is one of unique but serendipitous beginnings. They all met during rehab, all searching for something to fill the void that drugs once failed to do. What they discovered separately, yet together, is the profound bond of human connection, particularly through music, an experience far greater than any drug. We also talk about the reasons for addiction, why I should like Radiohead, and Drew's nose. Let's jump in.
So your drug of choice was drinking,
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Drew?
Heroin and amphetamines.
Heroin and cocaine and Xanax were my three.
Oh, Xanax too.
Heroin and crack cocaine.
Wow.
Cocaine was the preference.
So
really, but you can't find it.
But okay. So does anybody just want to speak to heroin use and the difficulties of getting off of it in any fashion?
Sure.
Because look, I'm secretly writing this book, and it's called Moderately Good Rules for Life. All right. And one of the rules is don't do heroin.
That's a good rule.
But the reason is,
Yeah.
so it's life changing. It's like the first time, right? Now your life is kind of different, right? And so I just want you to everyone speak to that.
Sure.
Anybody?
Yeah. I mean, the difficulties of like getting off of it.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. It gets to a point where you're like, money's a big factor in it, but like it depends like how much you can get, if you're just gonna get not sick, or if you're actually gonna get high. Because you use heroin, and then it got to a point for me where it was like I get high, and then there's maybe an hour window where I'll feel good, and then like a 2 to 6 hour window where I'll be kind of anxious and wanting to get high again, and then at hour 8 to 12 you start getting sick. And
that quick, huh?
By the end of it, it was getting that quick for me. And I don't know if it was psychosomatic, but at around hour 12 after using, I would start to just get super restless, anxious, cold and or hot, and then nauseous, start throwing up and stuff. And it's just this, your life basically just becomes
A cycle.
Yeah, it's just, it's not even about getting high anymore. It's just about not feeling that way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it takes so much money to actually get high at a certain point, and you're so broke that it's harder and harder to achieve that, at a certain point.
It's kind of amazing how
awesome at heroin.
no, it's amazing. I was just thinking about it, and it's weird. I got like, my hands got sweat. Like you were talking about withdrawals, and I was like, oh, I felt it for a second.
Celsius, but I am sweating.
Yeah, it might be from
So just from kind of talking about it,
yeah.
you start to get kind of sweaty palms and stuff like that. Like you start to kind of feel something, or no?
Not
Okay.
so.
No, I thought that's what you were saying.
Not like wanting to get high.
No. But just like backflash memories.
Yeah, legitimately, like the feeling of being dope sick. I just thought about it for a second, and I was like, oh, that's so gross. It's a horrible feeling. It's like, what's a good way to explain it? I always says like it's like the flu, but just on steroids, and it's like
You can't think.
you're just thinking about one thing, and
Wow.
And that was like the next point I was gonna make. Is like I think it's amazing, how the fuck, I'll keep it on me, but like how the fuck I could come up with money every day to keep getting high.
Like what you would go through.
Yeah, some horrible fucking stuff too. Like just literally like, I don't know, stealing shit or, I don't know. It's amazing how the fuck, I could be a junkie.
Well, is it? And I would assume it's just because like you're gonna feel so bad, right? Is that part of it too?
That's all it is. I think that's all it is.
At the end.
At the end of the rope, it's like it's not even about, you're just kind of on this primal instinct of not wanting to feel sick, and I think that's why heroin or just opiates in general is so bad. Is like, for me, there was a point where I love the feeling of being high, right? And because it was helping me escape from life and the shit I had going on. So weird kind of, I don't know, point to make, but there was a point in my life where getting high helped me, right?
In what way?
Because it made me escape from all the mental health issues I had going on. So I have like still to this day, I mean it's better now, but like chronic depression, really that's the big one. And anxiety and stuff like that. But it was just like as a kid or like 17, 18 years old, a teenager, right? It was so bad that it just was like I couldn't do anything with my mental health in the state it was. And that's when drugs came into the picture. And at that time, it was like, holy shit, this shuts off everything. This shuts off all the problems I got going on. But then the issue is, and thank God I fucking lived through that. That's another thing to consider. It's like one bad batch of drugs and I could have been gone. You know what I mean? But you get a little older, right? And all of a sudden, maybe the mental health stuff, either I forgot about it or it subsided a little bit, it got a little better, and then you're stuck with this addiction that's way worse than the mental health stuff ever was. And at that time, it's just like, how the fuck do you stop doing this? I had no idea there's like resources out there, stuff like that to get off of it. Are you laughing at the dip pouch coming out?
What
Yeah.
happened?
No, I got a Zin in my mouth and it started to pop out.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I forget what I was talking about now. So just being stuck with like a way worse addiction than the mental health stuff was. Are you still laughing at me?
I'm definitely not.
Okay, you are now. Everyone you just laugh it up. It's all right. That was the thing though, was just not knowing that there was a way out, and by the end of it, it was just fucking horrible.
Did you have anything to say?
I can, yeah.
Yeah.
What was the original question?
Just it was specifically, we were kind of just talking about the difficulties of heroin, but I mean, you could just speak to addiction in general if you want to.
I mean, yeah. I mean, my first rehab was for alcohol, actually. I got in some legal trouble.
Come on.
Every podcast.
You slipped on your mom's hardwood floor and hit your nose?
No, it was much worse than that. I drove into a lake.
Oh, wow.
When I was 18, 6 months after getting my license, where the driving instructor was my teacher's husband, and he specifically said to me, "Don't make me regret giving you this license." And then 6 months later, I drove into the lake. And then I went to jail for like a day, and then my mom bailed me out and said, "You're going to rehab." So I went to rehab, and I got out, and I started drinking again, and I was like, not getting away with it because alcohol reeks. So then I started taking a lot of pills because you can get away with them because they don't have an odor,
right?
You know? So I started taking like a lot of Adderall, Xanax. And then after high school, I got into opiates. Specifically, I made a pretty drastic jump immediately. I just started with perks and then went to oxys like within a month. And then like a month after that, I couldn't afford the oxys, so started doing heroin and started injecting about a week in. Started it for a week and then just started injecting. First thing I injected was a pill, and then the day after I started injecting heroin. So for like those 2 months, getting high was awesome. Yeah, it felt really good. But every day the high would last less long, and the feeling of discomfort would be even worse when I wasn't high.